Welcome everyone to Hardcore Wrestling Radio's picks for this Sunday's SummerSlam. I am your hardcore host Rick Head, and I am joined by the classic wrestling manager Joseph Knight. Joe, what's up?
Nothing much, buddy. SummerSlam. I'm interested to hear what matches are set, but I'm going to be particularly looking at one match. But let's go, Rick.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Before we do that, I have to address kind of some breaking news. Now, earlier in the week, or actually maybe even the past couple of days, we heard that Alberto Del Rio was suspended for failing his wellness test. Now, today, we heard that Paige was suspended for failing a wellness test. Joe, you're well aware, as anybody who's on the internet wrestling community knows that these two has been having a thing for like about 4 or 5 months now. Um, do you think if this is relevant or a coincidence?
No, you know what? I think it's relevant. It's we both know that Paige is in a relationship with Alberto Del Rio. A lot of people have speculated that this is a bad relationship for Paige. She's been really going, from my understanding, like I said, I don't know the full details, if it's facts, if it's true, but a lot of people saying that, including Triple H, that Paige is going down the dark road with Del Rio.
You know, I have heard the similar things. Actually, I'm fine. It was a couple of pay-per-views ago. Forgive me, folks, or not. I think it was Extreme Rules where the couple actually went to a bar and it wasn't 100% their fault, but like there was some marks that kept on just saying, "Oh, wrestling's fake. You guys are fake. You're fake. You're fake," and they got in their face. There was two different versions, but anyway, long story short, Alberto. It pretty much just shoved them, put them in their place, and then they left. There was a video of even Paige running around, so you gotta wonder if, like you said, she's going down that dark road. But what was involved? It's Are they doing similar drugs? Is it maybe just their performances of late?
You know what? I think it's seriously, I think it's just Paige is going down that road with.
The Del Rio. Up right now, I think we are having some
No,
technical difficulties. Oh.
no, you know what? I pulled at you. I was talking with the mic on, with the mute on. Um, no, going back to what I was originally trying to say was, I believe this is not a coincidence. I think this is both, the real probably saying, "Hey, honey, let's hit it up," and her trying to be cool and probably, you know, wanting to make something with the guy. She probably took it, and we also what happened. To be honest, also the situation that happened after Extreme Rules was Paige was a little bit tipsy, and Del Rio was a little bit tipsy. So, a lot of people, including Triple H, have said, this is, they're trying to push Paige away from Del Rio. Rumor has it that they're looking to get rid of Del Rio. Maybe this is a chance to how they're looking at to get rid of him.
Yeah, and hold on, we are going to be quickly joined by the son of a bitch, Andy. If I can get him in here. There we go. And so it's going to be very interesting. The son of a bitch is going to be joining us if we can.
Good
Andy,
evening.
well,
Hey, Andy man.
welcome to
Andy.
HWR's picks for the show. We were just discussing about the whole situation that how Alberto Del Rio and Paige are a couple. I don't know if you've heard recently, but yesterday and the day before, Alberto Del Rio was suspended as of tomorrow, and Paige is the same thing for failing wellness policy.
Don't surprise me. What did I say to you about Paige?
Well, she's
Go
always.
back about 4 or 5 months ago. I said if she carries on the way I know she's young, but if she carries on the way she is, getting pissed up all the time and doing what young kids do, she'll end up getting booted out the WWE, and she's in the right way about it because she's like a spoilt brat.
Well, and then she's hooked up, Andy, with the wrong person. This is Del Rio's second or third wellness policy in over his times in WWE.
Well, the funny
Rick,
thing is, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because he's only got a 30-day suspension. So I'm guessing when he re-signed, they kind of swept the other stuff under the rug. But I do want to move on because this was the picks for this coming SummerSlam this Sunday. Andy, I don't know if you've been following along. I know you've been busy doing your investigations, your paranormal investigations. Lance is not going to be joining us tonight. He is over hanging out with his guys. He does hangouts every Wednesday from 7 to 9. So unfortunately, he will not be joining us. But we do have his picks. I'm going to start off with one of the latest matches that's just been signed, and this is going to be a Six Divas title match, tag match. Excuse me. It's going to be Carmella, Becky Lynch, Naomi versus Natalia, Eva Marie, and Alexa Bliss. To be honest with you guys, I think this is just going to be a kickoff match. Carmella, I've never been impressed with. Becky seems to be getting the shit under the stick. Naomi's return is great. And if I had to really do a pick, I think it's going to go with the baby faces over the heels. Andy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to go the same way. But like you say, it's going to be a kickoff match. It's a who gives a shit match.
Exactly.
A bit like the Dolph Ziggler match is going to be who gives a shit, because both the guys in the Dolph Ziggler match have been squashed for the last 12 months.
Fair point. Joe, over to you. Your thoughts?
You know what? I gotta join you. I gotta join you too. The baby faces are gonna go over. This is it's sad that the Divas are becoming now the piss match again.
Yeah. Why they're doing it in that direction, who knows? I still think they're trying to push some of the new talents, such as Carmella and Alexa Bliss. And personally, for a record, Carmella needs a new gimmick. She needs to get away from the Enzo and Cass gimmick. But let's move along. Now, over the past couple of days, weeks, we've seen Cesaro and Sheamus. If I can get the words out of my mouth, and that's my phone going off. Anyway, this is apparently Mick Foley has set up to go do the best of 7 series. And the first match is going to be for the first win. Whoever gets the first win. And Joe, we haven't seen a best of 7 series, especially in the WWE, in years.
Yeah, and it's usually a title behind it. The only 2 series that they ever had was the Booker T, I forgot who, and I think
Chris
Kurt
Benoit.
Angle and Chris Benoit U.S. title match. Also, the Magnum TA versus Nikita Koloff best out of 7 for the NWA US title. So it's usually when you do a best out of 7, it's usually for a title. So this is kind of perplexing. But again, do we really want to sit down and see these guys go for 7 matches?
Well, at least the setting up is a 7 matches. And sometimes the best of 7 usually works out. If maybe there was SmackDown in the middle before the brand split, it probably would have worked out a little bit better. Andy, best of 7 series, Cesaro and Sheamus. I gotta go with Cesaro for the first win.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Cesaro for the first win, but Sheamus will win over the 7.
You know what? I gotta agree with one part of that. I gotta agree with Cesaro getting that popular win in the beginning, losing a couple to Sheamus, and then finally get the winning matches to finally clinch it. Because I think it's Cesaro's time to move on.
Exactly. As I said before, Lance is not with us, but we do have his picks, and he agrees. Cesaro is going to get the first win. Now, moving on, we have the Intercontinental Championship. It's going to be The Miz versus Apollo Crews. Now, Andy, I know you've been making jokes calling him Apollo Creed, and Miz, surprisingly, has been doing the exact same thing.
Yes, I'm going to go with Miz on this one. Even though I hate the guy, I just think this Apollo Crews is just a blatant Rocky ripoff.
Well, Joe,
even his ring attire, he might as well come out with a flag on his head, a flag top hat.
Well, I have to disagree with you, Andy. Joe, Apollo Crews, to me, he's really been impressing me. Still a little green. Is he ready for a title run just yet?
Not, absolutely not. He's gonna put on a hell of a match against The Miz, but I could see The Miz keeping the belt and building up a storyline where he eventually might win that belt later down the road. But I think this is just a test in the big time to see if Apollo Creed or crew or Rocky Horror or whatever, Rocky Balboa can make it. I honestly, I could see the Miz cheating to win, but I could see this be Apollo's big break.
Yeah, and Lance agree. Well, Lance's pick thinks that Apollo Crews is going to win, and unfortunately, I have to agree with you, Joe, that he's not ready yet. But you know what? Who knows? Um, let's move along. We have a tag team match now. It's Enzo Amore and Big Cass versus Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, or as they recently named it, Jericho. Uh, Joe, this is not the first time we've heard Jericho's me mixed in with some other member. If you remember, they did the Jericho show. So
Yeah, I think we've had enough of Chris Jericho and his multiple his name and other teams' names. Uh, you know, I look at this match with the push that they're giving Cass and Enzo. I'm gonna give it to those two because they're really becoming popular. And I'm not a fan of Enzo, but I gotta say, I can see them going over the heels.
yeah, and not to mention Jericho, especially over the past couple of years, has been knowing to pay it forward. And Lance agrees with Enzo and Cass. I have to say that Enzo and Cass is going to get the win. Andy, over to you. Your thoughts?
Unfortunately, I'm going to go with you guys, Enzo and Cash. Although I hate them, I just can't be doing with the gimmick. The big guy needs to just go on his own and leave that jerk off alone.
Well, you know what? I'm going to say something about Enzo, and a lot of people may agree, may disagree with me. I think if he got rid of that gimmick, he could be very successful because whether you like it or not, he is a good wrestler. He's got that. He captures your attention regardless right now whether he's pathetic or not, and he has
The
some of the great mic skills.
the biggest, you've just hit the nail on the head. That big guy has got the best wrestling ability of pair of them, but he's got the mic skills of a stick insect.
Well, I was referring.
That's why they probably won't put him on his own because he's about. When he has actually used the mic, when the other guy was injured, he was about as entertaining as watching paint dry.
Well, let's move on. We have a champion tag team championship match. It's going to be Anderson and Gallows versus the New Day. Now, as of recent, Big E got a groin injury. This is, from what I understand, it's legitimate. So it's going to be Xavier Woods and Kofi. Joe, right now, New Day is like, I guess they're still working on trying to be the longest running tag team title championship. So you gotta wonder if maybe Gallows and Anderson's gonna win but not walk away with the titles. Is that how you see it, or you agree or disagree?
No, I disagree. I think now is the opportunity. See, I see that's the reason they took Big E out of it, because when you had Big E in there, you had the Power Man. I think what's going to happen is you're going to see finally the title change, and they're going to give these two the break. They're going to give to see how well they can run with the belts. I think it's high time they did a switch, and it gives the New Day some time off. Maybe get them return matches, but I think it's right now the opportunity is there for new champions. And the only time we're going to see new champions is the tag team champions.
Fair enough. And Lance agrees with you. I'm still kind of, this is a coin tosser for me. Like I said, I don't think they might get the win, but they might not get the title. Andy, your thoughts?
Yes, hopefully New Day will lose, and there is such a thing as God.
Well, now, after that, there's going to be a women's championship match, which is Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. Now, here is the key that Dana Brooks is banned from ringside. This happened this past week, where they had to have a match. If Dana Brooks lost, she'd be barred from ringside, and thus she is. Now, for me, Sasha Banks is still a new champion, and I don't see her losing to Charlotte. Charlotte kind of had her run, and now it's time to give Sasha that proper run. Lance agrees with me. Joe, over to you.
Absolutely. You got to let the boss keep that title. Charlotte will definitely now be on the losing end. So I definitely see the boss walking away and keeping that title.
Andy, your thoughts?
Yeah, after seeing the matches that they've had on Raw and SmackDown over the past couple of weeks, it's going to be, unfortunately, the boss. And I say, unfortunately, because she's as green as grass.
I wouldn't completely agree with that statement. I mean, she definitely is
If
still
she
in
had
her.
a face, if she had a face like a busted arsehole and a body to match, people wouldn't be craving her. It's only because she's fit looking that people are saying she's got it. She hasn't got it at all. I mean, she's been wrestling now under the wing of the WWE for a year, and I've seen no improvement in her. She's on par with Callie.
Wow.
Well,
Oh,
you know what, Rick? Let me interject real quick. I gotta say one thing, Andy. If I were to pick the two top hardest working girls currently in the entire roster, and that's a big roster because they do have a couple girls, I have to say Sasha Banks and Bailey are the two biggest hardest workers. Now I'm gonna go out on the line. I gotta agree with you on one thing, Andy. If it wasn't for possibly Snoop Dogg, Sasha also would have not gotten her break. So I think because of that connection, that's why she also is getting her break. Don't get me wrong, fans. She's a great worker, but it's connections. And
well,
if it wasn't for Snoop Dogg or whatever the rapper's name is, you would not see that big break.
well. I'm gonna just say this, and then we're gonna move on. You
Can I
talk
can I
about
tell you what my girlfriend calls Snoop Dogg?
sure.
Shit spaniel. She hates him badly.
I'm
Shit
no fan of
spaniel
Snoop
dog.
Dogg, but I do want to say this. You know, he was a connection. He was a connection outside of wrestling, but you know what? There's several generations of wrestlers today in wrestling as it was years ago. But we're going to move on. I want to move forward. We now have a U.S. tag team match, which is Rusev versus Roman Reigns. Now, Roman Reigns is pretty much clearly out of the title picture for the moment. Whether you can call that he was they're trying to get him another new push and start from the bottom up, or some would say he's working his way down the roster. I could certainly see Roman Reigns getting the U.S. title, but it really all depends right now where he stands with the WWE. Joe, over to you.
You know, Rick, before I make that, before I give you my prediction on this, wasn't there an issue that something happened with Rusev backstage?
Um,
I
not that
think
I'm
there
aware.
was an I think there was an incident that I read that something happened with Rusev backstage. He botched the match something.
Yeah. Oh, yes. You're referring to his promo. He had botched the match, but he had botched. Apparently, he did a shoot, and the shoot was not looked well upon, and that's according to reports. You know, keep in mind that the Olympics is going on, and I think he was kind of like snubbing the Olympics because they have been beating WWE in the ratings. Again,
Well,
that's pure speculation. But that's not a fact.
right. And the reason I bring that up, fans, and to my illustrious panel here, it basically it's because of the fact that if you screw up or botch something bad, the WWE will punish you. Would this be a title change? No. But I can see Roman Reigns winning the match, but not winning the title. I could see him getting maybe a DQ win or some sort of other win and Rusev running away with the belt, saving it for another time. So my pick, Rick, Roman Reigns.
You know, and Lance agrees with you, and like I said, I agree with you. Whether he works with the title again remains to be seen. Andy, over to you.
I think they can give it Roman Reigns as a punishment for his failing his wellness program, and it's the way they can give him a title, but he can't. He can't. I mean, they don't normally fight for the world title when they're holding a title. Very rarely do they do that. So they'll keep him sweet by giving him a belt that doesn't mean diddly shit, and they won't have to give him a push because we've got to think of the guy who came back off the injury, Seth Rollins. He's sucking Vince harder than anyone's ever sucked Vince McMahon. So he's going to be the golden child now he's back. So unfortunately, Roman Reigns, he's just going to have to make do with a shit belt.
Uh, Again, like I said, he could be working his way up and down. But I want to move on to one of the biggest feuds that's been going on, and that's John Cena versus AJ Styles. And you know, AJ did get a win. Of course, it was a heel win, and then we saw. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. There was a tag team match where Cena kind of picked up the win. So this is almost like a rubber band match. Um, and I'm sorry, guys, but John Cena, as great as he is, as much as he's done for the industry, he is yet to really pass the torch or push it forward, so to speak, as I like to say. So I see, Cena getting the win. But Lance disagrees with me. Says AJ Styles. Andy, your thoughts? Don't mind me tonight, guys.
I think John Cena's going to win, but I would much prefer to see um, John Cena against Conor McGregor.
you know, I read that report about Conor McGregor, and again, a lot of people thinking, oh well, now he's coming to WWE. Now he's coming to WWE. I don't see that happening.
You know what it is? He's a nobody. He's Irish, so he's as thick as a piece of pig shit. Because that's how we look at Irish people. They're as thick as pig shit. When we poke fun out of people in a comedy aspect, it's always the Englishman, the Irishman, and the Scottishman, and the Irishman is always the thick retard. So I've had fatter shits that he's got arms. I have seen his past fights. I'm an MMA fan and a UFC fan. The bloke couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag. He's a nobody. He's an absolute nobody. And if he goes on TV and starts slating things like the WWE, he's going to get noticed in the paper. All he's doing is
yeah,
boosting his own brand.
well, if I may get in there for a second, he is officially retired, so I think he's trying to stay somewhat relevant. But I want to get back to the topic at hand. That's Cena versus Styles. Cena. I don't think Cena's going to win. I think Cena is going to win. Excuse me, Joe. Over to you.
I'm gonna have to go wild card here, guys. This is a big pay per view, but it's not that big. I have to say, you're gonna build up AJ. He needs this win. AJ needs to be the face of SmackDown. And if they're gonna do something later down the road with him and Dean Ambrose that they've been teasing and testing on house shows, I gotta say, AJ Styles is going to pull this upset out and then move on. In the next pay-per-view, Cena gets the rubber band match.
Well, keep in mind this is technically is the rubber band match because if I'm not mistaken, they took Cena was actually the six-man tag of I think it was Enzo and Cass who he was tagged with, and it was the Club at the time, which was Anderson Gallows and Styles.
Yeah, but we're looking at one-on-one, and if you go by one-on-one, I can honestly say they're going to give this match, because this is their true one-on-one match on a pay-per-view card. And I got to say, it's going to go back and forth. AJ's going to walk away with this one because there is that one other aspect too that maybe they don't want to do it. Maybe they're going to push away from it, but the Club is still there. So
Club is over on Raw though.
Right, but they can still work together on joint cards. But the point here is I'm looking at AJ Styles gets the win. John Cena gets the following win. AJ first.
Okay. Well, now we have two world titles, which the other title I refuse to refer to as a world title, but it's the WWE Heavyweight Championship, Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, as everybody knows, Ziggler's kind of always gotten the shit into the stick. He gets there, and then he gets knocked right back down, and he starts from pretty much Jump Street and becomes a stepping stone. I would like to see Dolph Ziggler win. I'd like to see him walk away with the title, but it's just not going to happen. I think Dean Ambrose right now, he's hot. They want to keep him hot. He's going to walk away with the title. Lance agrees that Dean Ambrose will get that win. Joe, your thoughts?
Absolutely. Dean Ambrose is very hot right now. He's the wild card of that that division or that brand. He's going to walk away. He's going to put on a hell of a performance with Ziggler and help elevate Ziggler. But I'm going to say Dean Ambrose to win.
Andy, over to you.
Yeah, Dean Ambrose to win with weapons.
And now there is a Universal Championship, and it's going to be Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. And whoever wins this will be the first time Universal Champion. This is a conversation for another time. But you got to wonder which title is going to be more significant, considering we've never heard of a Universal Champion, and we've yet to see it. WWE has yet to release it. I figured they would have done it this past Monday. Has yet to happen. Um, Now, Lance's pick is Finn Balor. With me, I'd like to give it to Seth Rollins because Seth Rollins again, he's hot. He's always been a huge heel. When he came back, he's now a babyface. He's getting those pops despite the fact that he's still a heel. Um, don't get me wrong, guys. Finn Balor, phenomenal performer on every level, but I'm not sure if he's just quite ready. But Lance disagrees with me. Joe, over to you.
No, you know what? I got to say, Seth Rollins. He's going to get that title back. He's going to be the top heel of Raw. But he's going to have that feud. And I got to say, that's how it's going to be right now. They're going to give Seth Rollins his due. And then he'll be fighting the Demon. And eventually the Demon will win it. But it's going to be a dragged out storyline.
Mm, Possibly. I mean, I think if Finn Balor loses, I think that's probably gonna be it, and then Finn Balor will go on to other things. Um, Andy, your thoughts? It's gonna be Finn Balor, or who's gonna walk away with the title?
Seth Rollins. The only thing that scares me is some comments I've been reading on the internet about what I was talking about a couple of weeks ago on the show about why isn't Finn Balor the Demon all the time? And apparently it comes down to there's only one makeup girl that can do his makeup, and she's only prepared to do it on pay-per-views. So, like the wrestling fraternity are saying, so the other 3 weeks in the month when he's not doing a pay-per-view doesn't really give a shit about them because he's only actually the Demon on pay-per-views, and that's a true statement. He is.
Wow.
He's only the Demon
Yes.
on a pay-per-view. There's
Even
only one girl which has been with him throughout his career that does his makeup. And they've basically said to him, can you wear some kind of leotard with the makeup already done, like tie-dye type stuff, like Ryback does? And he's basically said, no, this gimmick's been with me now for the last 5 or 6 years in the Indies, and this is how I like it. And WWE are not happy, so they're going to punish him.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Finn Balor has done other gimmicks of that particular look. I mean, I think we've even seen him in the Joker and other characters. But now I want to move on, and guys, keep in mind there's 2 world title matches, the Universal and the WWE Heavyweight title, but yet the biggest match they seem to be pushing more than anything else is Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. Now, it may not be the final match, but at the end of the day, guys, this is the main match of the night. Lance, he picked Brock Lesnar. If you ask me, I think Randy Orton's going to get the win, and this is why. If you recall, Brock had that chance where he got that UFC fight, and I think that was WWE pretty much saying, "Fine, you want to get the match, get your match, but you got to take the fall to Randy Orton." Joe, I don't know if you agree with me or disagree with me on that one.
Absolutely. We're going to see the Viperville. I can see Randy Orton pulling this surprise out. He's going to take a hell of a beating, but it's going to be one of those RKOs out of nowhere and catch Brock. And I think Brock also had a little controversy backstage with a couple of stars because of his another wellness policy failure, but it was for the UFC and the WWE sweeping that under the rug. So I honestly say we're going to see Viper pull out that surprise win.
Well, I wouldn't really say it's because of Brock's wellness test, and this is again personal thoughts. He even said straight out that he didn't take it specifically because it's an inhalant. And inhalant, unfortunately, has certain drugs where he would not be able to wrestle. It was a legitimate inhalant, and he chose to wait until after the match to take it, which would have made more sense. Andy, over to you. Brock Lesnar or Randy Orton?
I think Randy Orton's going to win because for the last 3 or 4 weeks as the feud been going on, Randy Orton's been dropping the ultimate punchline, which tells me he's going to win. Return of the Legend Killer.
Yeah, and again, the newest hot thing that he's been saying is Viperville. And considering Brock's not going to be around a lot, I think Viperville's going to be getting that push. I wouldn't be surprised if we even see merchandise coming down the road. But for me, I'm looking for this SummerSlam. It's one of the big 4 matches that everybody seems to love.
Is it just me though? Does Randy? I know Randy Orton's on a bit of a break from wrestling, but does he come back? To me, he just looks an entirely different character. He looks pleasant. He
Well,
doesn't look like he went. I know he was going through a divorce, but he sort of went in his shell a bit, and he went like the old Randy Orton, the douchebag. But now he's come back and he's like refreshed. He's got a better body on him now. He just looks raring to go. He looks the fittest on the roster, in my opinion, at the moment.
Well, he's also, keep in mind, he was out for 12 months due to a shoulder injury. He's constantly had. This is not the first shoulder problems he's had in the past. So he has obviously had that time, and right now they kind of get him as a baby face. So unfortunately, he has to have that happy go. But there's one last thing I want to talk about before we end the show, and there's been a lot of speculation about quote unquote a legend returning. Now, some people seem to think it's Goldberg, and I think that's total bullshit. I don't think it's going to happen at all. There were other suggestions who might come and who might not show up. Me, there's only one person that would make any sense, and that's The Rock. The Rock likes to show up on the big pay-per-view events and could give a shit less about any other days or nights of the week. So that's going to be my pick who makes the show. Andy, who do you think would pick out? Who's going to show up?
You've thought exactly the same as me, and he's going to make a challenge for Brock Lesnar for WrestleMania.
I wouldn't go that far. I think obviously he's got to come out and kind of do his little quick, funny little promos that everybody likes. Maybe Heath Slater comes down and he gets a rock bottom, but I think that's pretty much going to be it. Joe, your thoughts?
You know what? Here's the one aspect that you guys are forgetting about. They're bringing this guy back in a video game. So they got to promote the video game. Expect to see Goldberg show up at SummerSlam, not to wrestle, not to do much, but to promote the game. 2017.
You made an interesting point there because, again, he was one of the bigger names talked about. But a lot of people don't realize is that when he signed, he did not so for the video game. He went through he went through 2K Sports. He wanted nothing to do with WWE. He says this is a check. If he shows up, I will be shocked. But again, he's been very, very clear on multiple occasions that does not like the company, and that's why to get that extra downloadable character was through 2K Sports, not WWE.
Well, do you know what I think they're going to do with Goldberg?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be Randy Orton beats Brock Lesnar, bring back the legend killer phrase, and while he's standing there waving to the fans, look, I've beat Brock Lesnar, I'm a legend killer, Goldberg's going to walk from the back and go, I'm a legend, and you've not beat me.
Yeah. You know what? And Rick, I got to say this, in the same thing with Andy, you're looking at the marketing thing. And I always said it in wrestling. Never say never. If Uncle Vinny waves the big enough checkbook, the most hated individual, the person who hated the WWE, will make a return. Yeah, we know one thing. The person we're not going to see is brother right off the bat. So they'll save that for WrestleMania.
Possibly. Again, Hogan, we're going right off page here. I think Hogan does want to make his return. But you know what, guys? We're going to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Radio's SummerSlam picks. But we want to know your picks. Who do you think is going to walk away, become the first WWE Universal title, as pathetic as it sounds? Who's going to walk away with the World Heavyweight Championship? Is Dean Ambrose going to keep it? Or are we going to see Ziggler finally get that title that he truly deserves and he's been busting his ass for? Please put your comments in the comment section below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button in the upper right-hand corner to follow us over at youtube.com/HWR Show. But if you want to join in the conversation, head on over to the Facebooks and the group sections under the name HWR Chat Room. We're always looking for passionate wrestlers to say what they want, how they want to say it. So, Andy, you're over at StokeHunter.com. What do you got going on? Where can people find you?
Yes, I've got an investigation Friday, which is strange because we normally have investigations on a Saturday, but we're going to a courthouse, and apparently there's a big court case going on there on Saturday, so we've got to do the investigation on Friday. So it's a big massive courthouse. It's the biggest courthouse in Stoke-on-Trent, which is where I live. So I'm quite looking forward to that because it's got cells downstairs and hidden dungeony type places, plenty of dark areas to go in. So look out for that one. And also, if you go over to www.stokehaunted.com, if you look at the little tabs at the top where it says investigations, team members, blah blah blah, if you go right to the very far end, click on the HWR page. There's now an HWR page on the Stoke Haunted website, and I'll be putting new bits and old bits and bits and bobs about the team members and anything else. So if you want to know where to contact Rick or Lance or Joe, all their details will be on that page, and you can contact them that way.
And we do definitely appreciate that, Andy. Joe, right now, if I'm not mistaken, CWA is going to be making a comeback. They're going to be having an event in October. Tell everybody about it.
Well, we're finally making our big return. It will be Saturday, October 29th, Boomton, New Jersey, the Boomton Elk Lodge. It is our Halloween horror show. We've got a lot of matches signed. It's going to be quiet, Andy. I might have you come down and do an investigation. We're going to have a lot of surprises there that night. We're also doing a kids' costume contest. So if a lot of you kids are coming down, definitely bring your costumes. It'll be a lot of fun. Also, I've just uploaded finally my Ghostbusters 2016 review. I kind of meshed it with my Ghostbusters 1984 video, so you can get best of both worlds and see my opinions on it. And you can find that on youtube.com user The Classic Night. You can follow me on Twitter at JKnightCWA, where I'm always active on that. A lot of people have been contacting me back and forth. So I've been really busy, mostly a lot of political stuff. We're all doomed in the United States. And then you can also follow me on Facebook at facebook.com, Joseph Knight Manager, or you could join my retro group, which is facebook.com groups DK Retro, where we talk about video games, we talk about classic TV shows. Rick is always on there. I got to get Andy on there so we can talk about not only Ghostbusters, but other paranormal and UFO stuff. So that's pretty much it, Rick.
All right, with that, I'm your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you.